Domain is going to be important for the rest of the semester. And so here, the domain, again, is the largest set of real numbers for which the value of f of x is a real number. The domain is all the x values that are being used as part of the graph. The range is all the y values that are being used as part of the graph. And an open circle means that the x value is not part of the graph, and a closed circle means that it is part of the graph. So basically, what you want to think about is the domain is all the x's being used to make this graph. And then the range is all the y values that are being used to make up the graph. And another important thing is if you have an open circle, we're going to use parentheses when we write domain. If you have a closed circle, we're going to use brackets. And so here, let's put arrows here to make sure this graph is continuing. And if we want to find the domain, we want to look at what are the x-axis, what are the x values that are being used. So for example, this x value, if I go up, I will find it on the graph. This x value, if I go up, it will be in this part of the graph. This one would be on part of the graph. If I use -6 and come down, it's going to be on the graph. So basically for domain, we're using all of these values for x. And so this is going to go on forever. So we say that the domain is -infinity to +infinity. You always want to write the smallest number first. Now for the range, it's all the y values. So you want to look at the y-axis. So if I pick this point here on the y-axis, notice that it is going to land on the graph. So no matter which one I pick, it's going to land. So for the range, you're looking at all the y-axis values that are being used. And in this case, it's -infinity to +infinity. So let's look at the next one, domain. What x values are being used? So again, if we look at all these x values, these are all being used. Number 2, if I go down, I never touch the graph. If I go up, I never touch the graph. So we can see that this graph is going from 1 and it's ending at -3. So again, you want to use the smallest value, in this case, -3. It has an open circle, that means we're going to use a parentheses. And then 1 is a closed circle, so we're going to use a bracket. And then the range, we look at the smallest y value being used. -5, if I go across, I'm never going to touch the graph. But -4, notice that it touches the graph. It's a closed circle, so we use a bracket. And then the highest value is going to be 0. And although 0 is not included here, it is included over here. So we use a bracket.